Hey guys, still working on some Aspire type word problems. On the first problem, you should be on the sheet that says Mrs. Hilt traveled 21,120 feet. Okay, Mrs. Hilt traveled 21,120 feet. How many miles did she travel? Okay, the first thing we're going to have to draw back to is how many feet in a mile. And if you remember back, there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Okay, so if we know how many miles she traveled altogether, she traveled 21,120 feet, and there's 5,280 feet per mile. Okay, so we got to divide that out. Now, we know that it won't go into 2. We know it won't go into 21. We know it won't go into 211. We know it won't go into 2,112, but we do know it'll go into 21,120. If you have no idea how many times, put your hand over everything except the far number. 5 won't go into 2, but 5 will go into 21. How many times? Well, if we know our multiplication facts, we know that 5 goes into 21 4 times. So we'll try that. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 8 is 32. Carry your 3. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 3 that we carried is 11. And 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 1 that we carried is 21. And if we subtract everything out, we get a remainder of 0. So altogether, Miss Hilt traveled 4 miles. Okay, and number 2. We're still working with Miss Hilt. Miss Hilt collected 1,003 nickels in a jar. So we'll start underlining our numbers. And nickels, that's important too. She went to the bank to cash them in. How much money did the bank give Miss Hilt? Well, let's see. She has nickels, and nickels are worth 5 cents, and she has 1,003 of those. Okay, so times 0.05. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry your 1. 5 times 0 is 0, plus the 1 we carried is 1. 5 times 0 is 0, and 5 times 1 is 5. Now, we could go ahead and multiply this out and make another row, but it's just going to all be 0, so it's not going to change our value any. So then we look and we see, well, there's 2 digits behind the decimal in the whole problem, so there's 2 digits behind the decimal in the answer. So how much money did she have in nickels? She had $50.15 in nickels. Now this next one, this is the type of problem they call you're kind of guess and check. So Miss Hilt owns a house, and the lot is shaped like a rectangle. The perimeter of the lot is 60 feet. What is the length and width? Okay, well, we know that perimeter means that we're adding up all the sides. Adding up all the sides. Another way to look at it is it has 2 widths that we're going to add to 2 lengths, because if it's a rectangle, it's going to have 2 of these and 2 of these, and we would be adding those together. So if we just start with, okay, 60 feet, let's say if it was 20, or let me do the 20 on the long side, just a second. Okay, so if we're thinking about our rectangle, if we said this was 20, then that would mean this would have to be 20. And we're trying to get something that equals 60. So if I made, this looks about half that. So let's try that. That's 20, 30, 50, 60. So we already know, okay? And it says 2 widths. Well, we have 2 widths, and that would be 20, and we have 2 lengths, and that would be 40, and 20 plus 40 is 60. So her length and her width could be 20 and 10. Okay, Miss Hilt bought 15 books. She paid $11 for each book. Okay, each book, that's important. She later sold all 15 books for $25 each. What is the difference between the total amount of money Miss Hilt sold the books for and the total amount that she paid for the books? Well, first let's just look at how much she paid for the books. She bought 15 books and she paid $11 each. So 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 1 is 1, and then don't forget your placeholder 0. We're working with the second number in the second row, so we need our math to start under the second number. So that's why we placeholder 0. Then 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 1 is 1. And then we add those together. The board just a little so we can see a little bit better. Okay, and if we add those together, we have 5 plus 0 is 5, 1 plus 5 is 6, and nothing plus 1 is 1. Now, on ACT Aspire, they're going to have this number as one of your multiple choice options. They'll have 165 on there, but that's not what they asked us. That is just talking about how much she paid for the books when she bought them. And it wants to know what was the difference between what she paid and what she sold them for. So now let's figure out what she sold them for. Okay, it was the same 15 books, but she turned around and she sold them for $25 each. So we have 5 times 5 is 25, carry your 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 2 you carried is 7. Don't forget your placeholder 0. Second number, second row, need our math to start under the second number. So we've already used that. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus the 1 that we carried is 3. And if we add those together, I'm going to put it down here so we can compare them beside each other. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 0 is 7. And nothing plus 3 is 3. They're going to have that answer on there also. But that's still not what they asked us. They asked us what is the difference. Difference we know means we're subtracting. So the difference would be 375 minus 165. 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 minus 6 is 1. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So the difference was $210. She made quite a big profit on that, didn't she? Okay, next one. Miss Hilt earned $25 one week for shoveling snow and $50 for the next week. Then she gave 2/5 of her earnings to her little sister for helping her. How much money did she give to her little sister? Okay, well first we have to figure out just how much money she earned altogether. Okay, so if she earned 25 one week and 50 the next week, altogether 5 plus 0 is 5, 2 plus 5 is 7. So altogether, she made $75. And it says she gave 2/5 of her earnings to her little sister. So, gotta think, 2/5. She gave 2/5 of all her money. 2/5 of all her money. Okay, so 2/5. We know of almost always means multiply, and that makes sense. She's given this away, and we know when we multiply times a fraction, we end up with a smaller number. So she gave 2/5 of all her money. All of her money was $75. It's easier if we look at this like a fraction also. So we just bring our 2/5 on over, and we know that we can always make a whole number a fraction by putting it over 1. And then we just multiply straight across. So we would have 75 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus the 1 is 15. Okay, so now we know we have 150 on top. 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, well, it doesn't make sense to say she gave her little sister 1/50. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's divide that out, just like we would read it from top to bottom. 150 divided by 5. 5 goes, let me move the board just a little bit, okay? 5 won't go into 1, so we placeholder 0. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15, and then we subtract. Now, we know we can't stop yet because we don't have a number over every number. So we bring down that 0. 5 won't go into 0, so we placeholder, well, it's not a placeholder now, it's an actual value. 0 times 5 is 0, and we end up with no remainder. So how much did she give her little sister? She gave her little sister $30. And the last one on this page. Over the weekend, the Philadelphia area received an approximate 26 7/10 inches of snowfall. That's a lot, isn't it? In a province in Canada received 3 times as much. How much would the accumulation in that province be? Okay, so we're gonna have to do, if it's 3 times as much, we know that we have 26 7/10 3 times, which means we're multiplying. So we would have 26 7/10 times 3. Now we know if we are multiplying a mixed number and a whole number, we first need to turn our mixed number into an improper fraction. That means we multiply diagonally. 10 times 26 is 260, and then we add the numerator. So we multiply this way and then add the numerator. So we would have 267/10. And it's easier to look at this as a fraction. So times, and 3 is the same as 3/1. Okay, and then we just multiply straight across. Draw a line over here. So we have 267 times 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 6 is 18, plus the 2 that we carried is 20. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 2 that we carried is 8. So we have 801, and then 10 times 1 is 10. Okay, well, it doesn't make sense to say it snowed 801/10 inches. So then we would turn it back into a mixed number by dividing, just like we would read top to bottom. 801 divided by 10. Draw a line through here. Okay, 10 won't go into 8, so we placeholder 0. 10 will go into 80, and we know that'll go 8 times. 8 times 10 is 80. When we subtract, we can't stop yet because we have a number with nothing over it. So we bring down the 1. 10 goes into 1 no times. 0 times 10 is 0. We subtract. Now we have all of our numbers covered, and we still have a remainder of 1, which means it snowed 80 whole inches and then 1/10 of another inch. That is a ton of snow.